I understand that every Kenyan is very worried and ask why these young people can be as angry as they are with the government. You know, considering just Ruto has been in power for just over 1.5 years. And a lot of things, these things can be blamed on even previous regimes. Even the way Ruto argues that even the debt obligations was from the previous regimes and not his regime. But I would like to remind President Ruto that he's treading a very dangerous path when his key advisors are arrogant, are showing off. People drive around in expensive Range Rover autobiographies. You know, people are insulting you if you engage them online or offline. You saw it didn't only happen with Murkomen engaging that young job seeker, but David D does it every single day. When you are a state employee, there are things you don't do. Even however annoyed you are with what people are telling you, you know, people deserve to annoy you. There's a time, you know, we are being taken to court for causing personal annoyance, and it was a law actually which was put in the in our statutes to ensure that we don't engage these government officials. And we went to the Constitutional Court and it was thrown out and it was declared unconstitutional. But I would like to remind the President that when your officers are telling us that, you know, this thing was brought about by, you know, you fought for it, or you wanted it, or you know, you employed me, so you need not to ask me how I'm making my money. I'm rich enough, I can wear a watch of 10 million shillings, 50 million shillings, 20 million shillings. I can wear a shirt of 600,000, you know, 1 million shillings, and you should not ask me. I can wear shoes worth even so much. When people are going to churches, people like Oscar Sudi are going to churches and donating 15 million shillings, while they have done nothing for the young men and women. What do you think these young men and women are going to do? When you try to engage government officials, you know, offline or online, and they insult you, they tell you that, we, hapa sio sehemu ya kuuliza kazi. Oh, what are they supposed to think? You have all the resources. When we ask you from Nairobi County why State House is up to now, State House has all the revenue for Nairobi. They are consuming. Unaambia kwamba hiyo ni pesa ya president. And then they send to Nairobi County 30 million shillings a day, 20 million shillings a day. In Nairobi County, unaweza kutoa 20 million shillings. As an instance, we even watch Kajiado County collects more money than Nairobi County. Then they tell you that unajua hii pesa inakulwa na president. These are the things which are making Kenyans angry. These are, you know, the laws you're trying to make, the changes you're trying to bring, the taxes you're increasing are just worsening them off. But what is really happening is that you have done nothing to the youth fund. You have done nothing to the Uwezo fund. You brought something called Hustler fund, which nobody understands, and you wanted nobody to understand because ulisema kwamba kwa bodi hiyo wewe ndio inahitajika peke yako, Mr. President. How do you think these people are, you know, you cannot rule a country just because you're given the instruments of power, then you can do anything you want. Be very careful how you run a country. Otherwise, you're going to crash this country because you're going to leave this country so disunited that I don't think that anybody is going to ever unite this country again. The direction you're taking this country is dangerous for even the wealth you have stolen. You know, even the wealth you have stolen, you will not be able to consume them peacefully if this is how you're going to carry out yourself. So I'm telling you, Mr. President, that pay close attention to what. Don't stop snatching people off the streets. Stop looking for young boys, men and women, and snatching them, and, you know, going to take them into interrogation centers and ask them who is sponsoring them. I don't think that is something which even you can see for yourself that this is very organic. And the way it is organic, it means that you need to pay close attention to how your people carry themselves out. Even however rich you are, you don't need a Range Rover autobiography when you're a government officials. Don't ever do that. There are people, you're leading some people who cannot even have a meal a day. You're leading some people. I'm an elected politician in Nairobi. So I understand that people who go hungry, they cannot even afford a meal. At a 50 bobawana ya siku, These people don't even see money. Ukimpatia ndio maana, if you give them so moja, it can be able even to do the worst things for you. Yeah? So pay close attention to what you are doing and how you carry yourself out and how you show off. Suddenly, when Ruto was elected, immediately got elected, akagundua kitu inaitwa kaunda suit. You are not wearing these things before. Why are you wearing them now? What kind of validation are you looking for? Validation gani unatafuta? Wewe ni president already. Vaa kawaida yako. Vaa suti, koti, wear broken. Vaa, enda kwa event yako, maliza uende. Suddenly your wife wants 100 preachers. Waandike kwa allowance ya State House. And you think that's cool? Ati inaendea Mungu. These young people don't believe in a God. These people don't, and it's not their mistake. You know, this God sometimes we worship. Sometimes a lot of young people have a lot of questions to eat, and they believe that is part of the colonial mentality being driven into them. So pay close attention to what you're doing to these young people, because the kind of rapid, reaction you're going to see is going to surprise you. When I was just getting into the country's politics, I met a young PS who really gave me a perspective of the potent power of us young people. I was part of the youth population then, and I think it's called PS Mburugu. PS Mburugu, who died later in one of the tragic incidences. And PS Mburugu told us that if people are hungry and angry enough, then when you see them, these young people, they can come to KICC and push it and topple it without any tool. They can come and push even the biggest walls. They can come to State House. How many will you kill with the magazines, the bullets full, the magazines full of bullets which you have? How many are going to kill? How many do you think you're going to kill? You're going to kill 200, 100, 500. They can decide to sacrifice 200 people and ensure that 10,000 people get into that State House. Please, 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 be careful how you carry out yourself when you're a government officials. Don't be arrogant. Don't be insulting. People have all the rights to tell you the worst things they want to hear because they elected you. If you don't want to be annoyed, if you don't want to be asked the tough questions, if you don't want to be engaged online, if you don't want to be, stop being a government official. Enda kwa bibi yako na watoto wako. Nobody will follow you there. You see? Nobody will follow you there. These people will not look for you. You're a private citizen. You can block them. You can do all these things to them. They will not give a hoot. But you're a government officials. You people are earning public salary. Wacheni kutisha watu na hizi vitu. These things are going to affect the national fabric. And you people are so careless about it. Then you still increase the taxes. You even make it worse. Na unafanya hivyo, then you be arrogant to them. Please, Mr. President, be very careful what you know. Moi was saying these things to people, and Moi, it was it was a period when Kenyans were not so awakened to their rights. Don't try to be arrogant to these people in this day and age, because the fight back might not be what you're expecting. It might be more vicious, and there's no police or army in this world which is going to be able to solve this. But maybe that's what your famous sponsors, the US ambassador you praise and walk around with like your girlfriend, Meg Whiteman, I think that's what she wants. I think what the IMF wants. I think they want to really destabilize the country. And so they are pushing some of these agendas, they're trying to privatize the seeds and do all these economic policies which are going to make the young person lose hope. But if, Mr. President, you're going to fall for these things, I'm telling you for a fact that you're living on borrowed time. Be very careful how you carry yourself out and reach out. I've seen the most unfortunate bit is that Moi led this country for 24 years. This country, the president is a Kalenjin. I can tell you this without blinking an eye, that the president is a Kalenjin. So most of the people who are very close to the president are Kalenjins. But the funny trait of a Kalenjin, I think they're trying to look for some validation with all these cheap Gushis, Balman, all these cheap labels, which it's overpriced to them. They buy the fake Louis Vuittons for $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, and they come and show them off here. Oscar Sudi, I met him at the Ozone Club at the Valley Arcade. Now being driven around 2 escort cars, bodyguards hanging on the doors of the car, dishing out money. Kila bahali akona 1 million, 20 million to give around. It goes to churches and do these things. What kind of validation are all these people close to the president looking for? You see, what kind of validation are you looking for? What kind of validation are you really looking for? Then inafika weekend, wote ndio hiyo wote wametoka wanaenda Eldoret. So you spend the whole week, you know, filling your pockets. Ikifika time you're supposed to hang out, you even go and hang out amongst yourself. You don't interact with other Kenyans. Some of these things are very dangerous. So you don't even have the feedback you get from the public. You don't get it. Because wanatoka hapa ikifika Friday, kila mtu anaenda huko Mosop, anaenda Kericho, anaenda Bomet. They show off, you know, nimekuja hapa na 2 million ninunulie pasta gari. Ukinunulia pasta gari, umemsaidia na watoto wake. Hujasaidia hao young people. Stop going to these churches and giving 20-30 millions. Build digital hubs. Empower these young people. Give them loans. Give them money, the grants. Give them money they can run their businesses with. You know, try to look for ways of how to empower them in better ways. Don't use the do this, which, you know, now is concentrated on every young person given and do the now. It is like a death sentence to him, or it's, you know, a condemnation to poverty. Yeah? So try to change their lives. But when you carry yourself out the way you are continuing to do, I can tell you for a fact, William Ruto, the reaction, however powerful in rigging you can be, hii itakusurprise, itakulamba hii. Be very careful what you do with this kind of potent force you are watching from these young people, because you have awoken a kind of young people you cannot shoot to death. This is not the Kibera, this is not the Kawangware young people you just go around, shoot, and people forget about them every other day. You have woken the young people who are from the families of the middle class. They are going to be very well financed. When they get shot, they are going to be financed and they are going to get the appropriate health care. It is going to be a very superior reaction. You saw how restaurants were giving them money, you saw, giving them water and food, and you know, supporting this mandamano. You saw how some religious institutions, including the mosque, you know, the kudos to the mosque are coming out and supporting them. The churches are going to be awoken. You've seen how the churches are starting to chase politicians away from their pulpits. You've seen how this force is turning, you know, round, and it's going to cause some chaos into your government. Be very careful how you carry yourself out, Mr. President. Otherwise, and I repeat, otherwise, utashanga, tafadhali. You know, because some of us are so passionate about this country, and we hope that you can do better. However, you know, crooked you got into the power, tunaomba you to change things and to make an impact. But when you allow the anarchy, you allow the arrogance, you allow the looting in your government, and you allow, because we see them there, we see your government officials every day. So, Mr. President, I don't want to say much, but I will tell you much. The much I can tell you for now is that be very careful how you carry yourself out, and be very careful how your officials carry themselves out. The Oscar Sudis, the Farouk Kibets, the Felix Kosgeis, you know, their PSS, how the ministers, how they carry out. And don't be the only smart person in your government. Don't employ fools. Stop employing fools and expect to be the only person smart. What kind of insecurity do you have, Mr. President? Please, take good brains, people who can think of revolutionary ideas to bring. This country has so much potential. You know, even me, ukinipatia ministry, kuna vitu nitafanya utashangaa ni kwamba huyu ni ALAI, the blogger, ama mtu mwingine, because we have knowledge. We can properly impact this country. Lakini umeemploy fools. Wakikuwa cornered, the best thing anaweza kuonyesha ni kwamba wewe sina kazi yako bana, wewe wacha kunisumbua hapa. Ai.